Dictation number SV200 TN004. Get ready? Start. During the debate on the budget, the leader of the opposition said, I wish to apologize to the finance minister for my absence when he delivered his budget speech. I had personally conveyed my apologies to him. Nevertheless, I thought it my duty to do it in public as well. But one thing he may rest assured that my very absence has made me go through the pamphlet containing his beautiful speech with much greater amount of care and earnestness. In the course of the discussion, various criticisms were levelled against the government, and member after member representing various constituencies spoke about the need for greater amenities in one direction or another. I am afraid that it is futile to speak about these things at the budget debate. A clear realization of what the future policy of the government should be in regard to budget and in regard to income and expenditure. The finance minister did a clever thing in introducing taxation proposals long before the budget was brought in. Having done so, he has now presented to us the budget without any taxation proposals. I believe that the time has come when there should be a regular inquiry with the help of experts into the financial resources of the state, so that we may be assured of the lines on which additional financial resources can be raised. They should also evolve ways and means of affording adequate relief to essential services. In my humble view, this matter is of paramount importance, and the earlier the government takes steps in this direction, the better it will be for all concerned. There is one other reason why I press upon the finance minister the necessity for appointing such an expert committee. He has given us a true picture of the position that obtains today, and he has correctly stated that the resources of the state government will depend to a very large measure upon the future policy of the central government in regard to taxation measures. That is all the more reason why I honestly feel it would be possible for him to appoint a committee of the nature I have suggested. That committee will take into consideration the various taxation proposals with special reference to the conditions prevailing in the state and tender its considered advice on them. I do not think that our criticisms will be really effective unless we take stock of the situation between now and the next budget and apply our minds to the task ahead of us. Then, sir, I have suggested on former occasions too that standing committees to every department and every minister must be constituted. If we constitute such committees from the members of both the houses, it will greatly help the ministry in a very large number of cases. I know that their cabinet subcommittees formed from time to time, but as the ministers' hands are full, these standing committees will be really useful in giving the necessary advice and guidance on a variety of subjects that require to be handled by them. All that I am anxious about is that a certain amount of expert advice is necessary for the efficient discharge of the onerous duties and responsibilities that the ministers are called upon the shoulder. There is one other factor that I wish to refer to, and that is the government's policy with regard to loans. I believe that it will be left to the expert committee I have suggested to review the policy of grant of loans. There is the fortunate tradition that has been handed down from generation to generation by previous successive governments that loans are to be granted only for productive enterprises. I think the expression productive enterprise has been very vaguely and loosely defined. According to the definition, education, public health, and such other nation building activities do not come under productive enterprise. If you are to take a long range view of the whole matter, you will see that there is no more productive enterprise so far as government's financial resources are concerned than a well regulated policy of education spread over the length and breadth of this country, and a well regulated policy of public health ensuring the better health of the worker. If we keep this aspect of the matter as the guideline, we will be more than convinced that the loans that are sought for these schemes will be as productive as any other loan that you give to others. Sir, there is yet another subject on which I wish to say a few words with a certain amount of diffidence. I am convinced that the suggestion that I will presently make is the proper approach if the country is to be salvaged. I want both capital and labor and also the government to seriously consider this aspect. Unless there is profit sharing motive for labor, there will always be difficulties. But how this suggestion is to be implemented is more than what I can venture to suggest at present. Labor should have a voice and an interest in the returns from the capital. Even in government undertakings, I wish to suggest that it is a wise policy to adopt. Because the governments are now establishing many industries and are taking up some of the industries hitherto run by private enterprises, in my view, the government should set up an example for the private enterprise to follow in this regard. I am quite sure that any attempt honestly made in this respect will in the long run yield fruitful results. In all these matters, the government should be prepared to take some risk provided they are satisfied and convinced that it would be advantageous to the state. Let me conclude by expressing that Hope that the government will give serious and sympathetic consideration to the few points that I have been able to put forward in this august house. Thank you for the indulgence shown to me. Stop.